Welcome to InstantGMP, where quality control and inventory management work hand in hand. Here's an overview. It all starts with material specifications where you define the tests, methods, and acceptance limits for every material. Each test and method combination is used to create master test protocols, which are then used to generate active test protocols for specific samples. When a sample is registered from an inventory receipt, it's tied directly to its active test protocol. When the sample is checked in and the QC testing is completed, the results flow instantly into the QC tab of the inventory receipt, keeping quality data and inventory records perfectly in sync. When you go to the inventory management main screen, you can click on the receipt number to open the detailed information about that inventory receipt. The QC Tests tab will show a list of tests that have been performed on this material and the results of those tests. The information about which tests are needed comes from this material's specification. We'll go over to the specification screen to first show the list of all the tests, methods, and acceptance limits used to monitor the quality of this material. In this example, we need tests for conductivity, pH, and sterility. We can then look at the list of MTPs or master test protocols that were developed to run each of the tests. Now we can return to inventory management and look at the QC test tab of the receipt again. We can see that some tests have been completed and we can see the test, method, acceptance limits results and status. As more tests get completed on their separate active test protocols, the new test results along with their status and dates performed and verified will appear. When you are ready for testing, you can click the Register a Sample button to open a screen where you can select one of the master test protocols that are associated with this material's receipt. At this point, the QC laboratory can see that an active test protocol has been added, but it is not yet ready for testing. Before testing can begin, the sample needs to be checked in. When we go to the Check-in Sample screen, we will see all the samples that have been registered, but not yet been delivered to the lab. Once the sample arrives, the quality control analysts can record the sample quantity and unit and indicate where the sample will be located. In this example, the sample is being placed in the incoming sample bin of QC Laboratory A. Sample locations and changes of sample locations will be recorded in the history of each sample. When this step is confirmed, the sample will disappear from the check-in sample screen and appear in the sample register. The analyst can now click on the active test protocol hyperlink to open the ATP where the instructions for the test and where results can be entered. The analyst will need to issue the ATP before beginning. This allows the system to check that an actual sample is ready for testing. They can check the Personnel tab to see who is authorized to work on this test and who is authorized to be the ATP reviewer. They can check to see if there are any actions or materials needed and to see what equipment will be used. The Instructions tab will show them the individual steps they will need to follow to complete testing and to enter results. When they click on the edit icon next to a step number, they will be shown the details for that step. As they complete each step, they will click the Confirm button to advance to the next step. When they get to a step that requires a result, they can enter that value directly. They will need to compare their result to the acceptance limit and indicate whether the test passes or fails. When all the steps are completed, the results will appear in the QC Tests tab where a green or red status indicator quickly tells if the test passes or not. The same test information will now appear in the Inventory Management section in the QC Test tab of the material that was just tested. As additional tests on this sample are done, the additional results will show up as well in this Inventory Items QC Test tab. This video demonstrated how a sample can be registered from an inventory item, with test results appearing in the inventory record. Samples can also be registered from batch production records, where results will appear in both the Batch Production Records QC Test tab and the Inventory Records Test tab. With quality control and inventory management fully integrated in InstantGMP, your testing is traceable, visible across the system, and compliant. Thanks for watching and we wish you the best in your GMP compliance journey.